Back in 2020, I made a video about the Rode Wireless Go microphone system. In that video, I talked about why I thought it was the best microphone for making YouTube videos. It really was a game-changing product from a company like Rode. But it's been a while since those came out, and in this video, I'm going to talk about why I'm personally switching to these, the DJI Mic. Hi everyone, welcome to another Tech Talk with Samir, where I talk about anything and everything related to technology in my life. One of the pieces of tech that I've been using over the last couple of years was the Rode Wireless Go microphone system. It's been a staple part of my YouTube video gear. I use them in every video on this channel ever since I got them. Every video until today. That's because I got these, the DJI Mic. I wish there was a little more to the name, but I guess DJI's really been focused on simplifying the names of their products lately. They completely abandoned product names like Osmo or Mavic from their lineup. So this is consistent with that strategy. I actually ordered these back in January and it kept getting delayed up until recently. I totally forgot that I even ordered them. I think the supply chain issues are affecting all new products across the tech industry. Hopefully things are slowly getting better since mine finally decided to show up. By the way, since I'm using it for this video, you should get a good idea of what it sounds like out of the box. If you didn't already know, I'm a big fan of DJI the company. They've been on my radar for almost a decade when I got my original DJI Phantom drone. Since then, I've owned multiple DJI products over the years, including their action camera and different versions of their drones. I just love how they come up with new and innovative products so frequently. And this mic is no different. Although I love the Rode Wireless Go, I did have a few things on my wish list for a future version. Rode did since come out with the second generation with improved features, but when DJI came out with these, not only did they have similar features to the newer Rode version, but arguably surpassed them in almost every way possible. These retail for $330 US, so they're definitely not cheap. But on the other hand, that price does get you quite a bit of value, so I don't think it's outrageous compared to the competition. For example, the second generation Rode Wireless Go retails for $300, and that's the closest competitor to these. Inside the box, you get a pouch, more on that later, an USB-A to USB-C cable, a 3.5mm audio cable, two small windscreens, some manuals, and the charging case. And within the charging case, you get two transmitters, the receiver, an USB-C adapter, a lightning adapter, and a cold shoe mount for the receiver. Just from the unboxing alone, you could probably tell some of the features this thing packs. For me personally, the thing that caught my attention the most after they were announced was the charging case. This is a feature I didn't even know that I needed. Rode doesn't have anything like this. I mean, there's third-party ones out there, but nothing officially from Rode. So this is one of those features where DJI went above and beyond. Charging the Rode Wireless Go's were a bit messy. You needed a USB-C cable for each piece of transmitter and receiver. So if you're trying to charge up before a shoot, you have multiple devices separately charging with its own cable. It's not a pretty sight. The charging case on these operates very similar to wireless earbuds like AirPods. The case itself has a battery that can charge the transmitters and the receiver while they're stored in the case. And if you're completely out of juice, you just need one USB-C cable and it can charge the entire system at once. Very compact and tidy. On the charging case, you have 4 lights to indicate the charge level for the case itself. And when you open the case, the transmitter screen shows the charge levels for the individual components. It's a very simple yet effective charging solution. The receiver and transmitters do have individual USB-C ports, so you can still charge them without the case, but I personally don't see myself ever charging them separately. Also, it's a lot easier to carry for travel since almost everything you need is contained within the case. And I say almost because the 3.5mm cable and the little windscreens are things that you do have to carry separately from the charging case. You do get a little pouch to carry those, but it wasn't the pouch that I was expecting when I ordered these. When the pre-production reviews came out, everyone reviewing seemed to have gotten this fancy pouch with a zipper. But with mine, I got a cheap looking drawstring pouch. But for what it needs to carry, it should be fine. On a positive note, this pouch does allow you to store the charging case within it as well, since it's much bigger than the one that came with the pre-production units. As you saw with the unboxing, this system does come with 2 transmitters, which is great for interview type of content. The first generation of Rode Wireless Go's that I had only had 1 transmitter with no options to add a second one. The second generation did address this by supporting a second transmitter, but it's great that DJI thought of this right off the bat instead of waiting for a second generation. This was a feature I really missed with the older Rode mic. There were situations where I couldn't use them in vlogs because I was having conversations with others and that one transmitter only picked up my own voice. Looking at the transmitters, on one side there's a power button and a USB-C port for charging and connecting to a computer. On the top side you have a built-in microphone and a 3.5mm port for connecting a separate lavalier mic. There's also two small light indicators on the top corners. On the other side of the transmitter, you have two buttons. One is a link button for linking to the receiver if it ever loses pairing, and the second is a record button. More on that later. With the Rode system, I had been using the transmitter's built-in mics for most of my videos. Although you can plug in a separate lavalier mic to the transmitters, I like to keep things simple. That being said, the shape and size of the Rode mic wasn't exactly ideal. I mean, if I'm wearing a shirt with buttons, it was okay, but if I was wearing a t-shirt, it was really awkward to clip it onto the collar. I often found myself clipping the transmitter to an undershirt and then wearing my t-shirt on top. That did degrade the sound quality a bit since it kept rubbing against my t-shirt, but it was the best solution that I could find. The DJI transmitter, on the other hand, in my opinion, is a much better shape and doesn't look as awkward when wearing it. Additionally, the transmitters are magnetic and also comes with included magnets, which I can put on the other side of my shirt and have the mic stick to the shirt in pretty much any position. So I don't necessarily need to clip it to the collar. This will likely result in better sound quality since I have more flexibility with where I can place the mic. One issue with wireless microphone systems is that the audio can potentially cut out if you go out of range or if there's interference. But on the DJI mic, the transmitters actually have built-in storage to record a second backup track of the audio. Each transmitter has roughly 15 hours of recording capacity. Now, I personally never ran into range issues because I'm a solo creator and I never go too far from the camera, but I have had instances where the mic gain wasn't set correctly on my camera and the audio was unusable. A backup track would have been really useful in that scenario. To start the backup track recording, there's a dedicated record button on the transmitters. While it's recording, there's a small red light that turns on to give you visual confirmation. The transmitters also have a vibration feature that gives you a little nudge to indicate the recording has started and stopped. That's a small touch that shows how much thought DJI put into designing this. Having internal recording on transmitters also allows for other creative ways to record audio. I mean, if I wanted to, I could just take the transmitter with me and record the audio directly there and then later sync the audio in my editing software afterwards. That would completely eliminate the need to even connect the receiver to the camera. So you definitely have a lot of flexibility with how you use these. There was actually a recent firmware update that allows you to set up auto recording on the transmitters as soon as you pick them up from the charging case. My one didn't ship with that firmware installed, so I had to update the firmware. If you do buy these, make sure to check online for the latest firmware updates to make sure you have all the latest features and bug fixes. The second generation of Rode Wireless Go does also record a backup track, but from what I've read online, getting the audio from the Rode transmitters requires Rode's proprietary software installed on a computer. The DJI mic, on the other hand, just shows up like a thumb drive on a computer if you plug it in using the USB-C cable. It's a much more simple and intuitive solution. Switching over to the receiver side of things, once again, the DJI mic, in my opinion, has a much better design compared to the Rode. The Rode mic did have a display to show audio levels, but the screen was located on top, and for a solo creator like myself, I could never look at the audio levels while being in front of the camera. With the DJI mic, they have the screen on the front, so I can monitor audio levels even when I'm in front of the camera. If you need the screen on the back, the cold shoe mount is reversible so you can turn it around as well. The screen on the DJI receiver is also more functional. It's actually a touch-sensitive screen that can be used to access the menus and change all kinds of settings. You can adjust things like transmitter and receiver gain levels, switch between stereo and mono. You can even format the internal storage of the transmitters directly from the menus. The screen is definitely quite useful. It makes the transmitters a lot more hands-off, so if you're behind the camera and you're filming someone else, you can adjust everything you need directly from the receiver rather than going over to the person. The receiver not only has a 3.5mm output for the camera, it also has one for headphones. So if someone wanted to monitor the audio, they can plug in headphones directly to the receiver if their camera doesn't have a headphone jack. Besides connecting to a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, the receiver is also equipped to connect to other devices. You can connect directly to a phone using either the Lightning adapter or the USB-C adapter that's included. That's a big bonus. On the Rode microphone, if you wanted to connect to a phone, you had to get a different type of audio cable and adapters that didn't come included in the box. DJI really didn't discriminate when it came to designing this for different types of devices. There is one exception, however, that kind of blows my mind. It's not natively compatible with the DJI Osmo Action, the first generation one. You would think that since DJI made both of these devices, using the USB-C adapter on the mic should just work on the camera, but it doesn't. I can always use the Sinova adapter that I've been using, but it would have been nice to have native compatibility. DJI does natively support it on the Action too, but I likely won't be switching to that camera. It's way too ambitious of a design for my liking. The included phone adapters are actually stored within the charging case. So if you're filming with a phone, you don't really need to bring anything else other than the charging case. Also, the case is designed so that you can keep the adapters connected to the receiver and still store it in the case. That makes it a lot easier to just pick up and start using. Another usage case for these is to connect it to a computer. It works like any other USB mic when you plug it into a computer. That can be useful for live streams or Zoom calls for some people, or even things like voiceovers if you wanted to. All you need to do is connect the receiver to the computer using the included USB-C to USB-A cable. As mentioned earlier, the DJI mic comes with windscreens for the transmitters. That makes it better to use outdoors in windy environments. My Rode Wireless Go's also came with windscreens, but I could never really keep them on consistently. They just always kind of fell off and I just never bothered using them. On these, however, the windscreen has a very robust mechanism and stays on quite snug, so I would feel comfortable using them. How much I end up using them is still yet to be seen, especially since I have to carry them separately from the charging case, but I can definitely see myself using them in certain scenarios. So how do these sound? No, really, I'm asking you, how do these sound? Leave a comment below on what you think of the sound quality for these. Keep in mind that I'm pretty much using these with default settings right out of the box, and I also don't have too much skills when it comes to enhancing audio in Adobe Premiere, so I'm sure I'm leaving a lot on the table when it comes to maximizing the audio quality. But so far from what I've heard in my testing, I think they sound great, especially when compared to the old Rode Wireless Go's that I had. I think I still need to figure out the optimal settings to pair with my camera, as well as finding the best placement location on my shirt. But overall, the quality seems very similar to the Rode Wireless Go, if not slightly better. It does seem to pick up a lot of ambient sounds, but that's something that even the Rode mic did. I just have to tweak a few things on post to reduce it. I'm sure the quality of my audio will improve as I figure out the best settings and techniques. In terms of recommendations, honestly, if you're looking to get a wireless microphone system and this fits your budget, I think it's a no-brainer to get the DJI system. You won't regret it. I'm going to leave affiliate links for the DJI mic in the description below, so if you're considering buying it, it would help me out a lot if you use my link. It won't cost you anything extra. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want to see more samples of how these mics sound, make sure to subscribe to my channel since all my future videos will be filmed with these. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button since it really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Each one of your support goes a long way. As always, stay safe and I'll see you again on the next one.